Yes.
Have you ever seen this phrase to be at your wits end?
Yeah. To be at wit's end.
Have you
Yes,
seen that?
sir. Yeah, in my exam, yeah, it also I have to do a repeat sentence means some sentence says and I have to repeat at the same. So I have to also sometimes practice with you. So you says and I will repeat and it will improve a little. Yeah.
Okay, but do you know that expression to be at your wits end? Do you know what that means? Have you seen that before?
Mm. No, no,
Okay.
actually not.
That means to be very frustrated with something, to not know how to fix the problem and to be very frustrated.
Yeah.
Can you read the example sentence that I have in the video on YouTube?
Okay. So she's at her wits ending dealing with noisy neighbors.
Okay. Now
Okay, noisy neighbors.
when you say she, don't forget to whistle.
Okay,
She's.
she, she,
She.
she,
She's. Okay.
she.
Wits can mean like intelligence or like the function of your brain or uh, how you feel, something like that. Okay. So, what does that mean if you say she's at her wits' end? That's a very common phrase, to be at your wits' end. What does that mean?
Yeah, is uh, feeling frustrated.
Very frustrated. No, I don't know how to fix the problem. I can't fix the problem. I tried everything.
Uh,
Don't know what to do. What is her problem?
so her problem is dealing with noisy neighbors.
Yeah, so she
Yeah,
doesn't know what to do about that. And she's tried
yeah,
things and nothing works. Is that pretty clear what the meaning of to be at her wits' end means?
yes, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
to be at wits end.
Okay, it's a very common phrase. How would you say the first three words that you see?
So uh, she's at she's at she's at
Okay, and then her. Also, don't forget her. Use that word too.
okay. So she's at her.
Okay,
Yes, she's at her.
listen to how I say it. She's at her. She's at her. She's at her.
She's at her.
Mhm.
She's at her.
So there are three
She's
vowel.
at her.
We've got three vowel sounds. E at a. E at a. E at a. Can you?
E,
Are
e
those? Tell me about the sounds. Are they long or short? E at a. E at a.
E is long and e at her is other is short.
Can you say that phrase? She's at her. She's at her.
She's at her. She's at her.
Okay. Now the next two words are they appear together all the time. Okay. Wits and end. That means to be very frustrated, don't know what to do. Those two words go together all the time. When you have two words that go together all the time, which word should you focus on?
Yeah, is the first sound. First sound
O-
make it double.
Okay.
The
So
it's
how will you pronounce those two words together?
so wet sinned, wet sinned, wet sinned.
Oh, you do have to pronounce the E clearly. End. You do have to say that. Pretend like there's an H there. Witsend. Witsend. Witsend.
Wits Witsend, Witsend,
Witsend.
Witsend,
Okay,
Witsend,
let, let's
Witsend.
let's try to say everything together. She's at her wits end.
The she's at her wits end.
Okay,
She's at her wits end.
so we have big, small, big, small. She's at her wits end.
She's at her wits end.
Okay. What does that mean? If you say she's at her wit's end, what does that mean?
Yes, means she is completely frustrated.
Doesn't know what to do.
Yeah,
Okay. How will you say the next three words together?
is uh, dealing with dealing with the
Okay.
dealing with the
Okay, now we have the first word, dealing. Dealing. There are two vowel sounds in there. Are they big vowel sounds or little vowel sounds? Dealing.
yeah is a long
Which one?
deal
Because there are two sounds.
e
E, e, e.
is e
E. Dealing. Dealing.
is e dealing
Okay, how about
dealing
now the next two words both have a vowel sound. With the, with the, with the.
is a short
And it's
with the
just I.
e e
Dealing
e
with the, dealing with the.
dealing with the
She's at her wit's end dealing with the
she's at she's at her wits in the dealing with the
wit's end. You do sometimes, sometimes you can take a vowel sound when it's reduced and you can just make it but you cannot do that with the word end. So you have to fully, it's a short sound, but you have to fully pronounce it. Eh. Pretend there's an H coming out of your mouth. Eh.
yeah
Eh. You have to say the full sound, otherwise, I don't understand the word.
wits
Wits end.
wits end
Yeah, let's pretend they're both big sounds. They're not really, but let's just, it's better if you pretend they're both big. Wits end.
wits end
Yeah.
wits end
She's at her wits end
wits end
dealing with the.
she is at wits end dealing with the
She's at her. She's at her. She's at her.
she is at her she is at her
She's at
she
her
is
wits
at her
end dealing with the.
she is at her wits end dealing with the
Okay. And then what are the next two words?
is noisy neighbors
Okay. Noisy. Noisy. What do you
no,
two vowel sounds in there? Are they big or small?
it's big it's oi noi
Oi. So it's big and then small. Oi. Oi.
yeah
Oi.
it's oi yeah it's a big small
Noisy.
oi
Noisy. Noisy.
noisy
How
yeah
about
sounds like noisy
yeah, noisy. And how about the next word? Are those long sounds or short
it's,
sounds? A, a.
yeah is the first is long never
And the second
never
one is short. A.
a
So then we have the
yeah
common pattern of big, small, noisy neighbors. That's the rhythm.
yeah it's a noisy neighbors
With the noisy neighbors.
is a noisy neighbors
With the noisy neighbors.
with the noisy neighbors
Dealing with the noisy neighbors.
dealing with the noisy neighbors
Wits end dealing with the noisy neighbors.
it's dealing with the noisy neighbors
Wits end dealing with the noisy neighbors.
wits and dealing with the noisy neighbors
She's at her wits end dealing with the noisy neighbors.
she's at wits and dealing with the noisy neighbors
At her. She's at her. She's at her wits end dealing with the noisy neighbors.
she is at wits and dealing with the noisy neighbors
All right. Now, how many phrases do you think we could divide this sentence into?
Yeah, the she's at her wits end
Okay.
is the first, and another is dealing with dealing with
Okay.
and dealing with the noisy neighbor. Yeah, okay.
Now, what do you think about this? First of all, in this first phrase, she's at her wit's end. What would you say?
She's at wits.
What are the important words in that phrase?
Yeah, is a wits end
Okay, so wit.
wits end
So let's just highlight wits because this is really like one phrase. Wits end.
wits
Anything else?
end
Any other words or just wits?
is and
Well,
end.
because this is like a phrase that the two words are always going together, we'll kind of
Yeah,
ignore the word end. That's not so important. The word that we'll focus on will be the first word, wits.
yeah, wits.
But
Okay.
what about she? I think that we should maybe say she.
Yes.
Now, is this a serious sounding phrase or is this a happy, friendly sounding phrase?
Yeah, it's serious.
Okay. How would you pronounce the final two? If this is serious, then how should you pronounce the final two words of this phrase?
Yeah, it's a falling tone.
Okay, tell me how that sounds.
Yeah, it's a her wits. Her
Wit,
wits end.
wits end, wits end,
Wits end. Wits end.
wits end. But now, because she is starting the phrase, how would that sound? How does that word she sound at the beginning of the phrase?
Yeah, it's a rising tone.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a
what's a high tone?
seeds. Seeds.
She's at her wits end. She's at her wits end.
She's at her wits end.
Okay,
She's at wits end.
all right. Now, what are the important words in the next phrase? Dealing with.
Yeah, it's a dealing.
Okay,
Dealing.
now that's two syllables. Dealing. Which one has the accent?
Yeah, it's a D. D.
Okay. So now is this a serious sounding phrase or is this a happy sounding phrase, do you think?
Yeah, it's a serious. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a serious.
Okay, so we have a little problem because this is dealing is the beginning of a phrase, but also should sound so it should start high, but
Yes.
also it's kind of low because it's serious. We want to
Yeah.
well, so that means that
So
in the first syllable, start high and finish the syllable low. Dealing
yeah, they dealing with.
mhm. So she's at her wit's end. Dealing with.
She's at her wits end. With.
Okay.
Dealing with
Now, what do you think should be the important words in the final phrase of our sentence?
is noisy. Noisy.
Maybe both, well, it's funny because I think noisy neighbors, unfortunately, those
Yeah.
words always go together.
Yes.
So,
Okay. So yeah,
so yeah,
both.
we'll focus on the word noisy. Did you ever have
Yes.
noisy neighbors?
Yes.
They're very annoying. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're just going to focus on the word noisy, and it's kind of the beginning of the phrase and the end of the phrase. Is this serious or happy tone?
Yeah. It's serious.
Okay. So that means since it's also the beginning of the phrase, we're going to have to start high and finish low this time.
Yeah.
So how would you say this? This would be a falling tone. How would you say that?
Yeah. It noisy. It's
No,
noisy.
noisy,
Yeah.
noisy. Fall down
No.
at the end.
Okay. Noisy. It's
Okay,
noisy.
noisy, noisy,
Noisy. It's noisy.
noisy, noisy. Fall down.
It's noisy. It's noisy.
Yeah, and then stay down there because then you want to say neighbors in a low tone. You're finished. So you want to just
Okay.
keep that at the same low tone. Noisy neighbors.
The noisy neighbors.
Yeah, the noisy neighbors.
The noisy neighbors.
She's at her wits' end, dealing with the noisy neighbors.
She's at her wits' end, dealing with the noisy neighbors.
Okay, all right. How can you make a is can you make a she at her wits' end question? No, make a why question.
Okay.
Why at wits' end? How would you make a why question? Why at wits' end?
So okay. So why is she at her wits' end?
Okay, don't forget to whistle when you say she. She.
Okay. Is she
Hmm.
at her wits' end?
What do you think about the? Is that word why? Is that an important word in your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So how will you say the word why if you want it to sound important to get people's attention?
Okay. So uh, why she
No, you're right that the word is can be attached to the word why. So it sounds like this. Why is she? Why is she?
okay why is she
Get to whistle. Shh, shh, shh. Why is she?
okay why is she why
Why
is she
why is she at her?
wh- why is she at her
Why is she at her wits' end?
why is she at her
Why is she at her wits' end?
uh, wh- why is she at her wits end?
Okay, that's good. Tell me because of her noisy neighbors. How would you say that? How would you answer? Because of her noisy neighbors.
Because of with the noisy neighbors.
Because how would you say because of her together, like one word?
Okay, so
Because
because her,
because of her, because of her, because of her, because of her,
because of her, because of her, because of her,
because of her no
because of her, because of a noisy
don't
neighbors.
forget you have to say or at least in the UK they would say because of you could say it like that, but I would pronounce it with the
Yeah.
say because of her.
Because of because of
I'll just write it because of her. This becomes
okay,
see this. Okay, yeah, you can see it. So this becomes like one word. So you have the last part of the word is ver. Can you say that? Ver.
yeah, uh,
Ver. That's of her.
because
Ver. Just say ver.
of her
Say ver. Just
is
tell
a verb.
ver.
Okay,
Ver.
verb
Just say ver. Ver.
is a bird is a bird.
Now say zover. Zover. Zover.
It's a jabber is jabber
Because of her. Because of her.
because of her because of her
Because of her noisy neighbors.
because of her noisy neighbors.
She's at her wits' end because of her noisy neighbors.
As at weird sound because of her
She is,
noisy neighbors.
tell me she is at her. She is at her.
She, she is at her.
She's at
She
her.
is at
She's
her.
at her. She's at her. She's at her.
She's at her. She's at her.
She's at her wits' end because of her noisy neighbors.
She's at she's at her wits end dealing with noisy neighbors.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that we have to stop here for today. Okay. Thank you, everyone,
Thank you, sir.
for participating and watching and for all of your questions. And I'll probably be back in about 9 hours so we can read some more Gone with the Wind and try more pronunciation and vocabulary. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Oh,
sir.
I'll see you later. Goodbye.
Okay, sir. Nice sleep, sir.
You too. Oh, have a good day.
Yes, sir.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.